You got a woman that you say you love that is fighting for her life right now, and you're trying to feed me a line of bull like that.
Sir, where's the gun?
Where's the gun? Who has been shot?
This lady right here.
My wife. Yesterday, this man came over to my house. He was looking all kind of crazy. He said he had a gun on him, and he was thinking about shooting somebody.
Did she report that he shot over her head and all and ran over the car?
Get it off your shoulders.
There is nothing to get off my shoulders.
This is 64-year-old Anthony Stalcup, and he's currently being interrogated for the potential murder of his 60-year-old wife. What the investigators don't know at the time is that Anthony is going to be one tough nut to crack. On July 10, 2019, police officers rushed to 6230 Noble Road in Paducah, Kentucky after a disturbing 911 call came in. The dispatcher had told them that this was possibly a case of suicide, but it wasn't certain. When the officers arrived at the small camper, they were met outside by the victim's neighbor, Aileen Ruffalo. She seemed shaken, but managed to tell them what was happening.
Whatever.
Your husband and her.
Whatever. My husband is sitting over here, and her better half was the other half.
Where's the gun at?
Well,
Just tell me where the gun is.
I have no idea.
You don't know?
As the officers stepped inside the camper, they came face to face with a strange and unsettling scene. A middle-aged woman, Judy Stalcup, was slumped unconscious in a recliner. But what really stood out was that there were two men right there with her, one standing behind her, while another sat casually on the couch next to her, speaking on the phone as if nothing was wrong.
Sir, where's the gun?
Where's the gun?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Oh, shoot. I don't know either. I was asleep. There's no gun.
We just neighbors when I come to see what was going on. There's no gun that I know of.
She throwed it out the door.
Who has been shot?
This lady right here.
My wife.
Judy.
Who is in this room right here, sir?
My dogs.
Who else?
Nobody.
Are these dogs going to bite? I need you to get off the phone.
Y'all, get out.
The man on the phone was none other than Anthony Stalcup, Judy's husband, and his calm, almost detached demeanor as he sat next to his dying wife was a warning sign, a glimpse of the twisted stories he was about to tell the police. Before anything else, the officers needed to figure out if this was truly a suicide. Every second and every piece of evidence mattered, so they told the two men to get out immediately to secure the camper and preserve the scene.
Y'all get up and get out.
Get out.
We're getting out.
Move!
Off
now!
Get out.
Get out.
When we tell you to move, move!
Get out. Get out now.
Sir,
Get out. Come
I
on.
need you to come this way, please.
Let's go. Well, sir, we get these people out of here, then we'll get them out.
She's shot. Here, and I'm sorry.
Anthony was clearly intoxicated. He struggled to follow basic commands, forcing the officers to physically remove him from the camper. The next order of business was attending to Judy, and as one officer moved in to check her pulse, he quickly realized that she was still alive. There was still hope of her surviving this incident. She was swiftly rushed outside so paramedics could give her immediate medical attention.
Come on, Tim. I got the head if you got the head.
Back at the potential crime scene, before the officers could even question anyone or fully search the camper, there were already clear signs that something was off. This didn't appear to be a suicide attempt. For starters, the spot where Judy was shot was on her back. Officers initially thought that it might be an exit wound.
She was in the chair.
The first thing we're going to do is we're going to see some pictures as is.
Here's where she was. There's a little bit of blood. She was
Sitting.
in this room. Yeah.
That was an exit wound. It appeared to be an exit wound.
But, as later medical examinations revealed, there was no entry wound to match. And, more importantly, there was a far more damning sign that pointed to this being an attempted murder. The gun was missing. Now, in suicide cases, the weapon is almost always nearby, but in this situation, it was nowhere to be found.
So he says, I hear the dogs in there.
No gun, no.
Before proceeding forward, the officers decided to first do a quick scan of the camper to make sure that no one was hiding.
$53 for this. Listen to me. I'm going to ask you one time, and you better be straight up. There's that gun in that back bedroom, and is there anybody else in there? I don't think words can express how unhappy I'm going to be if there's somebody back there.
Well, how many?
The door to the south room was shut, and while Anthony had claimed that he had only locked up the dogs there, officers weren't going to take any risks.
What kind are they? Can you come get your dogs? Come get your dogs. Better have hold of them.
Jazz.
You better get hold of that dog.
All right, take them straight outside.
Dog out door.
If they get loose, they'll get run over.
Sir, get them dogs out of this trailer right now. They better not bite me. I will shoot that son.
He's not going to bite you.
Get them out. Get them out.
Come on, Jazz. Come on, Jazz. Come on, Jazz.
Once the dogs were removed, the south room was quickly searched to make sure that there was no one else in the camper. But while they didn't find another person inside, they did stumble upon something critical: a possible murder weapon. For now, the officers left the gun tucked in its case, focusing instead on preserving evidence and securing the camper. It was evident that a more thorough search of the property was necessary to piece together the full story. With the initial search complete, the officers turned their attention to the witnesses present at the scene and began taking statements. They started with the neighbors who had called 911 in the first place: Aileen Ruffalo and her husband Edwin, who was the other man inside the camper when the police arrived.
We live in that White House over there. Y'all went around her.
What's your address, sir? 62. Were you in there when this happened? No. He was in the house and he called.
Or I called to talk to her like I usually do every day. And he said, I have to call you right back. And then he called me right back and said, Judy's been shot.
Meanwhile, Detective Ray proceeded to take Anthony Stalcup's statement. Immediately, something disturbing stood out about Anthony. He was unusually relaxed for someone whose wife was fighting death.
I called to talk to her like I usually do.
I sleep on the couch. I heard a gunshot, and she said, Tony, I'm shot. And
Where was she sitting at?
in the recliner right there, the burgundy recliner.
Okay. Who else was in there?
And I said, nobody.
Nobody. It was just you and her.
No, yes, sir.
How did he get in there?
And I said, well, I called him.
Okay.
I said, Lord God in heaven, Judy's shot. Somebody come help me.
Okay. And you were asleep?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And there was nobody else in the residence?
No, sir.
Okay. Then how did she do it herself, or what happened?
As far as I know, she did.
Was she sitting in the chair when you looked over?
When I looked over, she said, Tony, I've been shot.
Here, Anthony's already setting the stage, painting himself as just a bystander who woke up to the gunshot sound. He's also implying that Judy must have shot herself since there wasn't anyone else in the camper. But it didn't take long for him to contradict himself.
You're a shot?
No, I didn't.
No.
This was the first of many contradictions that would follow. Detectives then asked about his relationship with Judy, and it turned out to be rather unconventional.
Whose gun is in the residence there?
Oh, it's hers.
Does she live here with you?
Yes, sir.
Y'all both reside here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
What's your relationship with her? Y'all
She's
just
my
live-
ex-wife.
Okay.
While Anthony had tried to paint the incident as a suicide, the detectives were not willing to give in immediately. They informed him that he would have to come to the station to answer some questions, which was standard procedure in cases like this.
Our office, so we can talk to you further about that. Well, let me preface this by saying, you know, anytime something serious happens, we have to do a thorough job because people are going to sit down, regard.
And I already know. Listen, please listen to me. I already know. I can't even be around guns.
Okay, I'm not even concerned about that right now. What I'm saying is, I could be in a 100-acre field by myself, and something could happen to me. And if law enforcement doesn't do their job, people are going to talk, and so you know what I mean.
I understand.
So let's see.
Yeah, I'll come
giving
down.
him a ride down there.
Can I get some shoes on?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Back at the camper site, Sergeant Ray had taken statements from other neighbors, and what they revealed was about to make matters much worse for Anthony.
What's going on?
Yesterday, this man came over to my house.
You live over here?
I live right there, yeah.
Okay.
And he was drunk.
Yeah.
And he was talking all kind of crazy. And he said he had a gun, and he was thinking about shooting somebody.
Her name, see?
She alleged that yesterday he said he was going to kill her.
Said that today, no, he didn't say he was going to kill her.
Oh, okay.
Said today, she said he keeps running me down and said he's going to kill my whole family. Now, that's hearsay, I know.
In the interrogation room, Detective Norman started by keeping things casual, even laughing with Anthony at times in order to keep him relaxed and unguarded.
No worries. Are you working anywhere, sir?
No, I'm retired.
Retired? Where are you retired from?
Barber.
Barber?
Yeah.
All right.
That's a pretty good looking cut you get there.
Appreciate it. How long did you cut hair?
30 years.
Really? You did it here in town or?
Right, in Texas.
Oh, okay. How'd you get started doing that?
I don't know. Howard Phone and Jack Phone used to have Pandemos out at Reeland, and they got me interested in it.
No.
And I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
It's just.
Where'd you do it in Texas?
Sonny's Hair Designs by Accent.
Okay.
Anthony clearly felt at ease and eagerly tried to paint a good picture of himself.
I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
Okay, I really am. I'll just go with the flow, and I'll do what I gotta do, and that's.
Sensing Anthony's willingness to talk, Detective Norman jumped straight into questioning him about the incident at the camper.
So I lay there, and I'd probably been asleep about 10 minutes, and I heard kaboom. And I said, what the hell did you shot me? I said, I was asleep. I didn't shoot nobody. And she said, well, I guess you won't have to worry about me no more. And she just fell over in the chair. And I got up, and I called the neighbors. Of course, I mean, what am I going to do? I called the neighbors, and I said, Judy's been shot. Do what? I said, Judy has shot herself. We'll be over in a minute. I said, Aileen, I'm going to prison. Because I'm an ex-felon. I ain't even supposed to be around guns.
Man.
And I said, she has done fucked me beyond belief again. And I said, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. She said, well, we'll be over in a minute. And then all of a sudden, the cops was there, and here I sat. I told your buddy in there, and I said, well, I don't know if you know it or not, but I'm going to prison. He said, no, you're not even under arrest.
No.
He said, you're not under arrest. I said, when they find that gun in that house, and I'm an ex-felon, they are going to automatically take me to.
Anthony stuck to his story, swearing he was innocent. But the lack of any real concern for Judy was painfully obvious. You can actually see the moment that he realizes this himself, and he scrambles to fake some sympathy.
It's just that simple.
Yeah. No, it's not that simple.
And I said, God, can somebody just take me to, where did they take her? Did they take her to Baptist?
Yes. Yeah, they took her to Baptist.
Can somebody please get me to my wife?
Yeah, nobody can be around her right now, obviously. They've got doctors around her, and they're trying to do what they can for her.
I'll sit there till hell freezes over. That's my baby.
I would.
The detective, however, avoided Anthony's attempt at distraction and steered the conversation back to the real issue: how Judy ended up being shot.
You fell asleep. Where'd you fall asleep?
I went to sleep on the couch.
Okay.
On the couch.
Were you laying down? Were you sitting up?
I was facing this way on the couch against a wall, and all of a sudden I heard kaboom, and I thought, did she shoot me? But no, she's jerky.
So you were kind of leaned up against the wall, kind of sitting like you are now, and just leaned up against the wall, and that's.
Oh no, I was laying down.
Okay, you were laying down.
Yeah, I was laying down on the couch.
With your feet on this side. And head down there.
Yeah, I sound asleep. And I heard that gun go off, and I thought, what in the hell?
Now, at this point, it's unclear whether it was the alcohol or Anthony's nerves catching up to him, but he contradicted himself once again, now claiming that Judy didn't say anything at all after the gunshot.
What did she say when you woke up?
Oh, she didn't say nothing. She's out. She's gone.
She was already out when you woke up?
She was just like this in the chair.
Okay. So what did you do then?
I said, oh my God, what have you done? And she wouldn't answer me. So I called Aileen and Eddie, our neighbors.
Sure.
And I said, Judy's been shot. Y'all need to get over here. We need to do something. I don't know what to do. Hell, I'm scared to go to jail. I don't know what to do. Get over.
Catching him in yet another lie, Detective Norman shifted focus to something even more alarming. Why did Anthony never try to help Judy after she'd been shot?
And when Aileen got over there and she started slapping her in the face, she said, Tony, we've got to have an ambulance. I said, Aileen, they're going to take me to jail.
How long do you think it was from when
about 30 minutes
you woke up till they called an ambulance?
About 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
According to Anthony, Judy was lying helpless on the couch for nearly 30 minutes before ambulances arrived. Detective Norman found this hard to ignore. When asked what he was thinking during this time, Anthony deflected again and started talking about his background in surgery.
I worked in surgery, okay, when I was 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in surgery, and then I took anatomy and physiology and barbering and all that, and I thought, my God, what could that have hit?
Yeah.
It could have hit her lungs, it could have hit her heart, and I just...
His constant attempts at deflection and distraction was making it very obvious that Anthony was hiding something. Seeing how Anthony was avoiding direct questions about the incident, Detective Norman asked about the weapon involved.
You called them. What did you do with the gun after that? Or let me back up. Where was the gun after you saw that? What had you done with it?
When I saw it, I laid it down on the coffee table.
Okay. Where was it when you woke up?
It was in her hand.
Okay. In which hand?
Her left hand. Right hand.
Her right hand? Okay.
Yeah.
Is she right-handed or left-handed?
She's right-handed.
Okay. You're kind of motioning there. What were you doing?
Yeah, she's right-handed. She had to do this. I mean, that's the only way. She just could.
Okay.
But
and it was still in her hand?
Yeah.
Can you kind of describe to me, show me kind of how?
It was down in the chair like this.
Okay. So her hand was still in the chair?
Yeah.
What kind of gun was it? I don't think I ever.
Ruger, 9mm.
Ruger 9mm. So it was it wasn't a revolver, it was just a pistol? Like this?
Oh, no, it was just Ruger 9mm, semi-automatic.
Okay, yeah, not a revolver or anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
So what'd you do with the gun?
I grabbed it and threw it underneath the coffee table,
Okay.
where y'all probably found it. I said, oh my.
Under the coffee
God.
table, is that the?
Yeah,
is it right in front
I
of
mean,
the
y'all do, what do you call it, gunshot residue,
Uh-huh.
whatever you want to on me, I don't care.
You haven't shot a gun recently?
Not recently.
When's the last time you probably shot a gun? It hasn't been within the past few days or anything?
No. It's been, it's been 4 or 5 months ago.
Seeing how Anthony was sticking to his story, Detective Norman decided to play in and understand what could have pushed Judy to shoot herself. According to Anthony, they had been getting along well, with tension between them only rising when it came to his drinking.
So what led up to this, you think?
Me drinking again.
But you just started drinking today, right?
Yesterday.
You only had 3 beers?
Yesterday.
Okay. So you went to the store yesterday with her?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So how many did you, like, have a bunch yesterday or something, or?
There was an 18-pack and there was 2 left in it, but all I did was drink and go to sleep.
Okay.
I mean,
So you drank 16 yesterday or
I'm
something?
the most non-violent person you'll ever meet in your life.
And I mean, it's not illegal to drink beer in your own camper. I'm just trying to, obviously,
Right.
everybody.
What led to it, and she don't like I said, we're both alcoholics.
Right.
And for me to drink a beer is just like, oh my God, help me.
But was that really enough to drive someone to take their own life? It seemed unlikely. Until Anthony revealed a heartbreaking detail that could explain why Judy reacted this way.
What had she been saying about the drinking? You said you think that,
Well,
that's why.
Okay. In 1999, she drank a glass or a little bottle about this big of 98% pure arsenic. Dr. King's got all the records and been, and so she suffered from depression. She suffered from bipolar. She has migraines, and we've been together for 30 years. But yeah, she just, well, I antagonized that, I guess.
Antagonized what?
Her drinking that poison.
Oh.
She said we had a 12-year-old son that was just out of control.
Well, since they were both recovering alcoholics, it was understandable why Judy would be so upset with him drinking so much again. Anthony remained adamant that this was the only reason why Judy would take such an extreme step. But the detectives weren't fully convinced. They asked him to walk them through the timeline of their day one more time.
How long do you think, from when the time that you all went to Cheers and you fell asleep, how long do you think that was?
Probably an hour.
An hour? Okay. Then how long do you think you were asleep?
I wasn't asleep long. I had just went to sleep and I heard a cup boom.
Okay. So within 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Within shorter than that, or?
No, 30 minutes.
Okay.
30 minutes. And I thought, oh my God, what have I done? You know, you always want to blame yourself.
Yeah.
This was when Anthony slipped up. Again. Though he quickly tried to cover, Saying that anyone would blame themselves in this situation, Detective Norman wasn't going to let that slide. He pushed Anthony to explain why he felt personally responsible.
Well, I mean, why would you be to blame in this one, in this situation?
Well, if I wouldn't have went and got no beers, she wouldn't have done this stupid shit.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if she went with you and she said she's going to buy it for you one more time, surely she can't be that upset about it.
Like I said, she's Cherokee.
Yeah, you said that before. Like, you mean, what does that mean?
You ever been around the Indian?
Well, yeah. You saying she got a temper, or what do you mean?
Oh, yeah, she gets, when she gets something in her head, that's it. It's over. You can't change her mind. You can't. You just can't even talk to her. I've been asleep probably about 30 minutes, and then bam.
Then you woke up when you heard that.
Anthony is trying his best to fake emotion, while carefully repeating the same story no matter how bizarre it gets. By the way, if you're finding this video interesting so far, please do us a favor. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really supports the channel. Now, let's dive right back in.
I didn't see no blood or nothing, but I said, what the hell did you... I thought maybe she just shot the ceiling, or where I grew up, hell, she'd fly on the wall or something.
Right.
You know, I mean, I'm no biker.
Right.
And I thought, what has she done? And she said, I'm shot. And I said, oh, bullshit. You ain't shot. Leave me alone. Just let me go back to sleep. And it got real quiet, and I rolled over and looked at her, and she just... And I said, oh my God, what have you done? And I called Eddie and Aileen, and I said, Eddie, y'all, somebody get over here. Something's wrong. I think Judy shot herself. I don't know what the hell's going on, but please come over.
However, just a couple of minutes later, Anthony tells the detective an entirely different version of events.
And then you noticed that she wasn't saying anything?
Yeah, and I tipped her over, and that's when I saw a gunshot hole right here. And I said, oh, God.
So is that like the first thing you did after you heard that is ask her what she did?
Yeah, I jumped up because she's already over like this, and I jumped up and I said, Judy, wake up. Judy, don't do this, because she's done stupid shit before. And I said, Judy, talk to me. At least, come on, acknowledge me. And she just, and I said, and I grabbed her shoulder and pulled her over, and I said, oh my God.
The contradictions are piling up, but Detective Norman has to tread carefully here. Pushing too hard might make Anthony clam up, or worse, ask for a lawyer. So Norman kept his cool, letting Anthony dig himself deeper.
People don't kill themselves over beer, though. I mean, I understand, even if you both are alcoholics.
Yeah,
I mean,
you don't know my life.
I mean, I would think she'd shoot you over it, get you to stop drinking. That's what most women would do, right?
I wish she would.
I mean, why would she shoot herself when, I mean, that's...
She did.
While Detective Norman halted the interview for a few minutes, over at the Baptist Hospital, doctors were desperately trying to save Judy's life. But, despite their best efforts, Judy didn't make it. She was pronounced dead at 5:53 p.m., almost an hour after being pulled from the camper. Later that day, Judy's family and friends got the devastating news, and the heartbreak was immediate.
I'm her brother.
I know, and We waited to tell you.
Here's my sister Charlie.
She didn't make it. Give me a wheelchair, somebody.
But beneath the grief and shock, there was another feeling that united the family. They all believed Anthony was the killer.
I'll go ahead one more thing to this. I'll add one more thing.
Go ahead.
He's a drug addict.
Bad. We're gathering that.
And he shot over her head before the gun.
He's run over with a car. Drug addict.
We're gathering that.
No, her, I do not know.
I'm not sure.
Whether she used them or not.
Well, we're gonna find out whether she has her system.
Is there any reports of, did she ever report any of this? Him shooting at her?
Yeah,
We've been trying to get her to leave him for years.
Ronnie, did she ever report Tony shooting at her?
Is there anything on reports?
Did she report that he shot over her head and all and ran over the car? Broke her leg, pushed her outside. Did she call the law?
I think so.
So it should be on
So
report.
it's in Livingston County where he shot over her head.
Where's that at?
Just Parsons.
Marshall County.
But it wasn't just Judy's family pointing fingers. Even Anthony's own relatives, his brother-in-law and step-niece, who also lived next door, had their suspicions.
What was his prison time?
Guns and alcohol.
His possession of guns or?
Yeah, possession of guns. But they always put the guns in her name.
Okay, so he was convicted.
Yeah,
because it was like he had gotten drunk before and like ran his truck into a person's home is what it happened.
Oh, so that's
Yes.
Was he,
He wasn't like a violent offender or anything. It was like always like drinking and
I don't think she shot herself.
well, like I said,
she didn't shoot herself. We don't, she's had a stroke, my stepmother has, and it was due to stress, and we don't want to let her.
Their testimony also exposed Anthony's lies during the interview, especially when he painted Judy as the short-tempered one, even though she had been the one constantly covering for him.
So it's pretty much you guys kind of know, I guess, whenever he's drinking, is where's Tony at? Is that kind of the question? Or is it?
If I hadn't seen him out lately, she's doing, I'll say something. She goes, where's Tony? And most times she'd just say, well, he's not feeling good, his back's killing him. She'd cover for him.
Further details about their relationship, particularly their financial struggles, revealed a darker truth about the abusive dynamic between them.
Of course, she was depressed from living this way. I mean, we're not saying she wasn't a depressed person, because of course you're depressed. No one that's completely in their right mind would stay in a situation like that. She did suffer from depression. She took depression medicine.
Come back. He had to depend on her money, her income. But she's on Social Security.
Was he on Social Security?
Yeah, he's on it too now.
But she drew like maximum amount and had always been the one that had worked years prior, and she always had good jobs, and he always like jobbed.
Back in the interrogation room, Anthony still hadn't been told about Judy's death. Detective Norman wanted him unthreatened and calm as the questioning resumed. Then Norman shifted focus back to the moments right after the gunshot. This time, Anthony conveniently, quote-unquote, remembered a new detail that he hadn't mentioned before.
You heard the boom.
Right.
What happened right then and there? Right when you heard the boom?
I jumped.
Mm-hmm.
I jumped up off cat. The dogs don't like loud noises. They
Yeah.
don't like thunder.
Yeah, most of them.
The dogs were going crazy, and I jumped up, and she said, I've been shot. And
While explaining, Anthony casually brought up his dogs. Not realizing this offhand comment was about to shatter his narrative and ruin any shot he had at proving his innocence. Detective Norman tactfully got Anthony to give details about his dog's behavior, especially in the presence of a stranger, without ringing any alarm bells in his head.
All right. So, your dogs, are they kind of pretty protective of y'all?
oh yeah, yeah.
They bark when people come over?
Well, they're territorial.
Yeah.
You know, somebody comes in the yard or gas people been working out there or whatever, they go nuts and barking and carrying on, but I don't think they ever hurt anybody.
They hear people outside?
Yeah.
Like, so they'll be inside the gas person?
Oh, they're always inside.
Okay. But they hear the gas person coming?
Oh, yeah.
And get loud and
meter reader or whatever, and they'll start barking and bristles come up and all that.
Yeah.
And,
they wake you up in the middle of the night? So I know a lot of dogs do.
Yeah, they're sweethearts.
Yeah.
They really are. They're sweethearts.
I know I had a dog, and man, I guess they don't sleep very hard, and boy, they wake me up.
When they hear something or something don't seem right to them, then they're gonna get aggressive.
Yeah, I know my dog would wake me up out of a dead sleep. And
yeah.
I couldn't hear anything, but they could hear something, obviously.
You heard anything about Judy?
No, I actually, I've been trying to talk to one of the deputies that's there. But so would you think that your the dogs, if somebody was outside or had come inside, so they definitely would have barked and you would have known?
Yeah.
So no way anybody except for the two of you could have been in the camper.
No, there was no way.
Without realizing it, Anthony had just confirmed, in his own words, that no one else was in the camper besides him and Judy. What he didn't know was that, according to both the officers on site and the medical examiners assessing Judy, this was undeniable proof that this was not a suicide. And with that, Detective Norman read Anthony his Miranda rights, officially shifting the conversation into a homicide interrogation.
What's the problem? What am I facing?
For what?
For anything.
I'm just talking to you right now.
I understand.
I mean, just because there's a gun in the house, I mean, you said it's locked away, I mean.
Yeah, and it's Judy's.
Yeah, man, I think you're getting wrapped around that too much.
Oh, hey, I'm scared to death.
I understand that. I understand that.
I'm 63 years old.
And
I don't.
So on the note of you being scared to death, just because you say you're scared to death and you've been down here, we've been down here for a while, and I do appreciate you coming down here because obviously we need to talk to you.
Right.
You're the only one there. Need to figure out what led up to her doing this. Since you're here and we've been here for a while, I'm going to read your rights, okay?
Here we go.
You're not under arrest.
Okay.
You're not.
Okay. I'll take your word for that.
You're not under arrest.
Remain silent.
Before you ask any questions, just know your rights. You have the right to remain silent.
This is also where Detective Norman decided to drop the bombshell, hoping that hitting Anthony with the harsh reality of the situation would finally make him crack and admit to what really happened.
We have a couple different detectives over there, as well as doctors, obviously, that have seen this stuff, and they've spoken to people that see gunshot wounds on an almost daily basis, okay? And what they're telling us is that there's absolutely no way that she could have shot herself the way that she's been shot. All right. So we need to figure that out right now.
Okay.
I mean, how can we explain that?
I wish I knew. I really do.
Well, Tony, really, I mean, I've been trying to wrap my head around it. You know, professionals, experts saying there's no way she could have shot herself in that manner. So there's really only two things that I can think of. And, you know, you tell me what's right, what's wrong, all right? Now, I don't want to put words in your mouth or anything. You're going to have to be the one that tells me which is the right one. Either you shot her in cold blood for whatever reason, out of spite, being mean, vengeful, hateful, whatever.
I would never do that, sir.
Or you all got into an argument, you were defending yourself in some type of altercation, you were defending yourself, and it happened. I mean, we've seen both things. Mm-hmm. So one of those two things had to have been what happened. So you tell me, Tony.
But Anthony barely reacted. Even though his story had gaping holes and made no logical sense, he kept insisting that he had nothing to do with Judy's death.
I had no reason to shoot her. Captain, I had no reason. I'm deadly in love with that girl. I would never.
He even went a step further, blatantly stating that Judy would support his innocence. However, in his desperate attempt to clear his name, Anthony slipped up again, and Detective Norman caught it immediately.
She didn't shoot herself.
And I didn't shoot her.
Well, then what happened?
I wish I knew.
Well, what is she going to say?
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I hope she wakes up and tells the truth.
Well, and if she wakes up and tells the truth, what is she going to say?
She's probably going to say I took the gun away from him and it went off, or something stupid.
Took the gun away from who?
From me.
That she took the gun away from you?
Yeah.
Okay. Why would she say that?
She don't want me to have anything to do with any firearms. But
right.
I'm not.
But why would she say that she took it from you?
Because I was drinking.
Okay. But why would she have to take it away from you? Did you have it out?
Oh, no. It was under the pillow.
It was under the pillow that you were laying down on?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, if she wakes up, and I'm assuming she's going to tell the truth.
I hoped.
So, you think she'd probably say that she took it away from you?
You told me I could see her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but right now we need to talk about how this happened. How Judy got it.
I really wish I knew how it happened.
Well,
I really do. I really do. All I know is I heard a bang and she said, I've been shot. And I really wish I knew how it happened.
Now, grasping at straws, Anthony started throwing out theories, frantically trying to explain how Judy could have shot herself. But Norman wasn't buying any of it, who now decided to change his tone, hoping that a more aggressive line of questioning might force Anthony to tell the truth.
Well, Tony, guess what? I'm going to call you a liar. You are lying to me, and you need to start telling the truth right now. You got a woman that you say you love that is fighting for her life right now, and you're trying to feed me a line of bull like that.
Well, maybe I thought it would scare her.
Scare her what?
What do you mean scare her what?
I mean, how's that going to scare her? She's right behind you. It's going to hit her.
She saved me for 30 years.
So did you point it like this at her to scare her?
No.
Then how were you to scare her?
No. It was under the pillow. I didn't think it'd go anywhere.
So you thought that you were going to scare her by making her think that you were trying to kill yourself?
Yes, sir.
Or by shooting
yes, sir.
and...
Yes, sir.
So you didn't think that somebody a foot away might get hit by this bullet?
No, sir. That never crossed my mind.
How does it not cross your mind?
I don't know. I'm stupid, I guess.
I mean, bullet stops once it hits something, right? Sometimes.
I thought
it's got to hit something like this. You thought a pillow was going to stop it?
Yeah, I thought the pillow in the couch was going to stop it. Yeah.
Come on, man.
I did. I swear to God I did.
So you were willing to risk your wife's life on thinking that this pillow or this couch was going to stop a 9mm round.
After hearing enough of Anthony's attempts to paint himself as the victim, Detective Norman decided that it was time to move on to something more concrete. The evidence. Bringing up the pillow on the couch, the same one that Anthony claimed the gun had been under. If Anthony was lying about that, it could unravel everything.
Now, so is there, when we search your house and look at this couch and look at this pillow,
right?
What's that pillow going to tell us?
It should have a bullet hole in it.
Should have a bullet hole in it?
Yep. Promise you.
Well, I mean, if I knew that that's what I did, then, I mean, there's got to be a bullet hole in there. And I'm telling you right now, guess what else there'd be? You'd have marks for your hair, and you don't. So
there's GSR there.
So you're still feeding me a line.
I'm not.
While Anthony refused to comprehend the gravity of the situation he was now in, the investigating team decided to pile on the pressure, with the sheriff joining the interrogation as well.
Initially, when we got this call this afternoon, I've been kind of involved with it, okay?
Yes, sir.
And I've listened to everything that you've said. I've been at the hospital. I've talked to medical professionals about this.
Is Judy okay?
I've seen the layout of this trailer, and here's my concerns, okay?
Okay.
I know you're at a tough spot, okay? But as Captain Norman has told you, now, if there's ever a time to tell the truth, it's now, okay? Hang on, hear me out, okay?
Yes, sir.
Because we've still yet to hear it, and here's why. Because now, I'm not going to go back and reminisce on the variations of stories that you've given,
Right.
but now we're to a point to where, if I may, you're expressing and explaining that you're laying on this couch that's here.
Yes,
Okay?
sir.
Judy's kicked back in this recliner. Well, there's a wall right here, okay?
Yes, sir.
And this wall comes up, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And your head's right in here. And you're laying here like this, correct?
Yes, sir.
On the couch.
Facing the wall.
Facing the wall, okay? All right. If, and only if, your version now is true, do you know where Judy would have been shot?
No, sir.
At best, just above the ankle.
Once again, they laid it all out for him. No matter what he said, expert analysis and the physical evidence inside the camper made it impossible for his story to hold up. Anthony was then forced to accept the reality of just how many people were already starting to see him as a liar. The detectives made sure that he understood that if he continued to stick to his story, this perception was only going to get worse.
What we have established through the evidence and through medical professionals is that, as it's already been expressed, she did not do this to herself, okay? There's some information that we have that we know unequivocally that you were the only two in this trailer, okay? So that leaves you and only you being the only person capable of shooting her, okay? Now, hear me out. You promised you'd hear me out, okay?
Yes, sir.
Here's where things get so sticky, okay? Because there's going to be people to paint you out as a monster. They're going to paint you out as being a premeditated, cold-blooded killer, okay? Now, listen to me, all right? Things happen, and things happen quickly, all right? But here's where you've got to stop and recognize and realize the importance of telling the truth, okay? Because minus the truth, Tony, people can make this into whatever they want, all right? But here's the thing. What makes it look really bad and what makes the really bad version look more believable is whenever you're telling one untruth after another untruth after another untruth. And the thing is, the only time that you are becoming a little more truthful is after we have expressed and explained the impossibilities to the story you just gave, okay? Now, hear me out. Now, we have now, yet again, another untruth. There's no way, it's impossible for this gun to have been under a pillow, you facing the wall, you pull the trigger without taking aim at her. Now, what I don't know, because I wasn't there, and nor was Captain Norman, what we don't know is what escalated.
By this point, the detectives knew no amount of persuasion, no amount of fear was going to make Anthony budge. And just when it seemed like he was at rock bottom, Anthony managed to somehow make things even worse for himself. As the detectives left the room, Anthony did perhaps the stupidest form of self-sabotage that he could have managed in that moment. He started licking the gunshot residue off his hands. When confronted, he had a bizarre excuse ready. Just another in a long line of absurd explanations that had become his norm.
Man, what are you licking yourself for?
Oh, just itching.
Itching. Had
Yeah.
nothing to have anything to do with that GSR, does it?
Oh, no. Here, you can do whatever you gotta do.
He's going to get the kit. You're in here
Okay.
licking and wiping
Okay.
your hand off.
Oh, I've got psoriasis.
Anthony still refused to admit to anything, stating that his only reason for doing what he did was the argument that they had because of his drinking. All he wanted to do was scare her. And that's when the cops pulled out another crucial piece of evidence. Something that just might be the missing puzzle piece in proving Anthony's intent.
What's going on?
Yesterday, this man come over to my house.
You live over here?
I live right there, yeah.
Okay.
And he was drunk.
Yeah.
And he was talking all kind of crazy. And he said he had a gun, and he was thinking about shooting somebody and all that, so.
So he just brought the conversation up like out of the blue?
He said, I need to cool off. I was like, what's going on? I haven't met the man from Adam, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, I need to cool off. Me and my old lady's been into it. He said, I got a gun. He said, I don't want to go there. Lottie, lottie, lottie.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was about it. He sat there and just kind of talked. And then he come back over here.
So what threats did he make? He said, I'm going to what?
He just said he had a gun.
Okay.
And he said, I don't want to do that.
But was he implying
I don't,
that? Okay.
I don't know what he was getting at,
Mm-hmm.
but I could smell alcohol really, really heavily on him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just...
You never dealt with him before?
I've never met the man. He was just, it was kind of odd.
Anthony's answer to this was to start snitching on his neighbors.
Well, neighbors sell drugs. Need a confidential informant?
We'll talk about that maybe a little later.
When asked if he had interacted with his neighbors at all, Anthony suddenly had a completely different story about his conversation with Cody.
Do you remember going over to your neighbor yesterday and talking to them? After you and her had an argument, you and Judy had an argument, you went over and talked to your neighbor?
No, he come over to my house.
Okay. You were talking to him after
Yeah.
telling him
Yeah.
that you had an argument, that you and Judy had an argument?
No, I don't.
And
I do not
so what,
share our...
what did you talk to your neighbor about then?
Oh, I've got a Bose stereo
Mm-hmm.
hooked up to my TV. And I said, come here, Cody, and listen to this. But as far as Aileen and Eddie, no, they don't. I don't remember going over there. No.
I'm done. We're going to get some paperwork together, okay?
A little glass of water or something.
Get you a glass of water. We're going to get your paperwork together.
Thanks,
okay?
sir. I appreciate it.
All right.
Don't know how else to say this other than we just got notified by the hospital that she didn't make it.
Oh, my God. No, don't tell me. Please don't tell me that.
I'll let you.
Did she die?
Yes, sir.
Oh, God. No, no, no. No. No, please don't. Please don't tell me that. Please. Oh, God, no. Oh, God, no. What am I going to do without her?
I'll let you stay in here for a few more minutes, and then I'm gonna
Can
take.
you listen? You just,
Nah,
they're hurting me.
well, I'm gonna give me a few minutes. I'm gonna let you have a few minutes in here, and then I'm gonna take you on over to the jail. Okay?
My wife's dead.
Anthony Stalcup was eventually found guilty of murdering his ex-wife in August of 2021, more than 2 years after he shot her inside their shared home. The trial lasted only a day before the jury reached a verdict. Now, if you think this case was horrific, you need to check out my video on the moron boyfriend who thought that he would outsmart the detectives.